Welcome to surviving on a death world. The incident report made it back to Professor Krelix within the hour. He read it 3 times, his mandibles working in agitation. Then he pulled David's file. What he found was educational. The human wasn't from one of the core worlds, where humanity had established its first peaceful colonies. Wasn't from New Geneva or Armstrong Station or any of the other sanitized, civilized human habitats. David Fisher was from Earth. Earth, the original human homeworld, the death world. Krelix had, of course, heard the stories. Every galactic citizen had. Earth was the planet where the weather tried to kill you, where the bacteria evolved faster than medical science, where the very water could harbor things that would lay eggs in your brain. Humans called it home. They'd evolved there, in an environment where literally everything was trying to eat them, poison them, or crush them under gravity that would make most species' bones powder. And they'd somehow become the dominant species. Krelix looked at the humans' transcript again. Perfect scores in threat assessment. Top marks in environmental adaptation. A note from the combat instructor that simply read, "This student has survival instincts I cannot explain and cannot teach." The professor sat back in his chair, thought about the Ravager lecture, thought about David's question about endurance, and for the first time, really understood what he was looking at. Humans weren't apex predators. They were something worse. The Academy's final examination was a simulation. A combat scenario in a controlled environment, designed to test everything the students had learned about predator behavior, threat assessment, and survival tactics. The students were split into teams and inserted into a holographic environment that mimicked a hostile planet. Their objective: survive for 72 simulated hours while being hunted by a variety of AI-controlled predators. Most teams built shelters, fortified positions, defended themselves from stationary locations and hoped their supplies would outlast the predator assault patterns. Standard doctrine. Smart doctrine. David's team, still Thesic and the 3 Centauri, started walking. "Where are we going?" Tick 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 demanded. "Away from the spawn point," David said, not slowing down. "The simulation knows where we started. The predators will concentrate there first. But our supplies are portable. We carry them. We keep moving." "That's insane," one of the other Centauri protested. "We'll exhaust ourselves. We won't be able to defend a mobile position." David looked back. "Do you know what the average human can do?" They stared at him. "We can run a marathon. That's 42 kilometers. Takes us about 4, maybe 5 hours if we're not in great shape. Then, after a night's sleep, we can do it again. And again. We can do that for weeks if we have to." Thesic's colors flickered uncertainly. That seems implausible. Our ancestors used to hunt by just following things until they collapsed. We're not the fastest. We're not the strongest. David turned back to the path. But we're very patient. They walked. For hours. Through simulated terrain that shifted from forest to plains to rocky highlands. Every time the predators closed in, the team detected them early. David insisted on constant awareness, constant scanning, and simply left. Changed direction. Kept moving. The predators, following their programming, would sprint to the last known location, ambush the empty ground, then have to pick up the trail again. Thesic was the first to understand what was happening. "You're exhausting the simulation," he said, wonder creeping into his voice. "The predators have to rest. They have stamina limits built into their programming. But we just keep walking." "Yep. They can't catch us because we never stay in one place long enough for them to set up an ambush, and they can't maintain pursuit because we're not running. We're just moving." Now you're getting it. By hour 48, the other teams were starting to fall. Their fortifications breached. Their supplies exhausted. The predators were relentless. David's team was on their third lap around the entire simulation zone. Tired. Sure. But functional. Still moving. By hour 70, they were the only team left. The simulation ended with them walking into the sunrise of the artificial day cycle, while somewhere behind them, the exhausted AI predators had finally given up and despawned. Professor Krelix watched the replay in his office. Watched the humans simply walk. Not run. Not hide. Not fight unless absolutely necessary. Just maintain a steady, relentless pace that ground down everything in its path through nothing more than refusing to stop. When David showed up for his final evaluation, Krelix was still sitting in the dark, the simulation replay frozen on the screen behind him. "Human David," the professor said quietly. "Sit." David sat. "When you questioned my lecture on the Ravager, I dismissed you." Krelix's voice was flat. "Tired. I thought you were being contrarian. I wasn't trying to—" "I know." Krelix turned to face him fully. "That's what disturbs me. You were being helpful, pointing out a flaw in my understanding that was so obvious to you. You assumed I'd simply overlooked it." David said nothing. "Every species in this galaxy has predators," Krelix continued, "and every one of those predators follows the same rule. They strike, and if the strike fails, they withdraw. They conserve energy. They abandon hunts that become too costly. It's basic survival economics." "Makes sense. Except humans don't do that." Krelix gestured at the frozen simulation. "You just continue. Like pursuit itself is the strategy. Sometimes it is. That shouldn't work." The professor's carapace had gone very still. "Persistence hunting shouldn't be viable. The energy cost should exceed the caloric return. But humans evolved on a planet where giving up meant dying. So you simply removed that option from your behavioral repertoire." David shifted in his seat. "Is there a question coming?" "Yes." Krelix met his eyes. "What happens when the galaxy realizes what you are?" The silence stretched. "I don't know," David said finally. "I guess they'll either adapt or run." "And if they run?" David's expression didn't change. "Then they better not get tired." Krelix felt something cold settle in his thorax. Not fear exactly. Recognition. He pulled up David's final grade on the display. Perfect score. Then added a teaching offer below it. "The Academy wants you on staff after graduation. We need someone who understands what the rest of the galaxy is still learning." "Which is?" "That the most dangerous predator isn't the one with the biggest claws." Krelix's voice was soft now, almost reverent. "It's the one that's still there after everyone else has gone home." David stood. "I'll think about it." Krelix took the hand. Felt the grip, not crushing, just firm. Steady. Like everything else about the human. After David left, the professor sat alone in his office for a long time. Then he opened the human's file one final time and added a single line to the permanent record. He typed slowly, carefully. "Warning. Humans do not hunt. They simply wait for you to stop running." Krelix saved the file, closed it, and sat in the darkness of his office, listening to the station's environmental systems hum their endless cycle. Somewhere in the Academy dormitories, a human was probably sleeping. Resting, conserving energy for tomorrow, because that's what humans did. They rested when they could, and when they couldn't, they just kept walking.